Well, well, well. Look what we have here. Well, actually, I would normally be on the twitter.com of Limbus Company, but I decided, why waste all that time when we could just get right into it? This is going to be an overview of both the Rodion and Meursault Fauvist identities. Obviously, I'm here to, read the kit for you and whatnot. If you want an opinion on how it works in gameplay, we will be pulling and playing with the new identities on patch day. So let's not waste any time and start with the Fauvist Docent Rodion. We're going to start with Rodion over Meursault, strictly because she is like the main banner and Meursault is the event. It's most likely going to be that Meursault works a little bit like a lesser, quote-unquote, version of Rodion. So once we understand Rodion's kit, we'll understand Meursault. Anyway. Starting off immediately, we know that this is the first bleed sinking identity. Bleed sinking, guys, add that to the team comp. We have a Gloom, Envy, and Lust skill. This is obviously a ring, and she's very pretty. Let's start with skill 1, shall we? Blah, 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 blah. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Okay. We have skill 1, which is a 1 coin. We haven't had this since Renclair. A 1 coin blunt gloom. Deal more damage for every X type of negative effect on the target. Okay. Deal more damage if the target has palette vibrant or vibrante. I'm sure someone in the comments will tell me how to pronounce it. That's probably those little marks that they inflicted on the teaser. On use, gain clash power and final power for every X of bleed plus sinking on the target. Number 1, reuse this coin if the target has X type of negative effects. Cool. First hit inflicts bleed count. Second is sinking. And the third is mold color rogue. Interesting. So, it is bleed neutral. For the bleed count enthusiasts, it is bleed neutral. And also we have two different things. We have palette vibrant, which is I think the clawed marks, her colored claw marks that she had. And then this is obviously one of the scratches, like the claws that she puts on the enemy. Simple skill 1, we'll come back when we understand what those do. Next, we move on to skill 2, which is a 2 coin blunt envy skill. Expression of primary colors. Did I say what this was? This is vehement overpainting, and then this is expression of primary colors. We have deal more damage for every X type of negative effects on the target. We have deal more damage if the target has palette vibrant, or vibrant. I'm just going to say vibrant. We have deal more damage if the target has X types of mold color. We have on use gain final power for every bleed sinking potency on the target. We have on use gain coin power for every X type of negative effects on the target. The first coin inflicts bleed and the rogue color of mold. The second coin inflicts sinking count, the mold color bleu, or bleu, I assume it's bleu, like French. And then the also additionally inflicts touche hardy. Touche hardy? Dude, I am gonna get flamed in the comments about my pronunciations. I don't speak this language, okay? I don't know how to pronounce it. But anyway, that's what it does. So we have mold color rogue, we have mold color blue, and we have touche hardy. I was gonna say touche hardy, I assume. If the target has X type of negative effects. We'll figure out what that does, which we don't know what that does yet. Then we move on to the skill 3, which is, whew, what a wordful. There's 2 skill 3s. We have Le Fauvisme, Déchaînement Brutal. 4 coin Lust blunt. So she is mono blunt, actually. This is quite funny. I was not expecting her to be mono blunt, but here we are. We have deal more damage for every X type of negative effect on the target. We have deal more damage if the target has palette vibrant. Before use, by the way, before use is not tagged incorrectly. If target has X type of negative effects, activate burst forth the pulsing crimson under your skin. Wow, that's an incredibly easy skill 3. I said it's skill 3 conditional, same as this coin power conditional. And then we have coin power for every X bleed sinking potency on the target. The effects are as follows. We have first coin inflicts bleed and mold color rogue. The second coin inflicts bleed count and mold color rogue. The third inflicts sinking and mold color blue. The fourth inflicts bleed count and inflicts touche hardy next turn if the target has X type of negative effects. And then on the final hit inflicts touche hardy. So looking to me just from the flat here, looks like the mold color blue might be a unique sinking. And then the mold color rogue might be a unique bleed. That sounds very interesting. Obviously, we'll figure that out. These are both 2 pages, by the way. I should have mentioned that. I don't know if I did. But yeah, they're both 2 pages. Now let's have a look at the Ascendant Skill 3 and see what it does. So this is obviously still a mono blunt. It is lust still, but it is unbreakable coins. So 4 unbreakable coins, and it is unfocused volley. Burst forth the pulsing crimson under your skin. Deal more damage for every X type of negative effects on the target. Deal more damage if the target has Palette Vibrant. On use, gain coin power for every bleed sinking potency on the main target. The first coin inflicts bleed and mauled color rogue. The second inflicts bleed count and mauled color rogue. The third inflicts sinking and mauled color blue. And the fourth hits all targets, inflicting bleed count and inflicting touche hardy. Interesting, so it's a little bit different here. This one does not get inflict a guaranteed touche. Oh no, it does. Actually, it hits all targets. So it's pretty much probably just going to be more values and more damage. That's usually about it. Also, it hits everyone, so pretty nice. We move on now to her greed, because she has 2 clashable counters. Okay, how does she have 2 clashable counters? Well, we're going to have to figure out this. We have Trimming the Medium. It is a 2-coin blunt clashable counter. We have deal more damage if the target has Palette Vibranti, which is colored in green this time. Before use, if the unit does not have Reflection, and if the target has X type of negative effects, activate as Critique. Interesting. Gain final power for every bleed sinking. The first coin inflicts bleed and inflicts mauled color rogue. It inflicts mauled color rogue if the target does not have mauled color rogue. Okay. The second inflicts sinking, and then the second also inflicts mauled color blue. Inflict even more blue if the target does not have mauled blue. Okay, so we have like 5 different status effects that I have no clue. We have Palette Vibrant, we have mauled color, we have rogue, we have blue, we have blue, we have reflection. So that's the standard clashable counter. Now we have the unique clashable counter, I guess. Holy smokes, how many conditionals are on this clashable freaking counter, Rodion? What is this greed? God damn. Anyway. Deal more damage for every X type of negative effects on the target. Deal more if the target has Palette Vibrant. Gain Clash power on use if the target has Palette Vibrant. Gain Final power if the target has Bleed Sinking. Gain Clash power for every type of a negative effect on the target. Skill and gain Reflection. Reuse this coin for every type of negative effect on the target. What? Inflict Bleed, Sinking, randomly inflict mauled color rogue or blue, and then inflict touche hardy if this is the X coin used. What the? What the hell? Bro, what is this? Is this not a goated ass, like, power counter? That's nutty. Okay. We're going to have to figure out what these do to see the value of this, but this just looks like... This kind of reminds me of Crew Chroma Heathcliff. I'm getting Crew Chroma Heathcliff kind of vibes, where you want to, like, empower the counter, and that's, like, kind of like your bread and butter. Here we have the first passive, which is Mentorship. We have Turn Start. Gain L'Hommage, equal to the number of ring student identities on the field. Oh, what the shit? Two ring faction leaders? Turn Start, randomly apply the number of ring student identities on the field, offense up, and defense up for any ring identities on the field. Why are we buffing them? They're getting buffed twice? They have 2 leaders. The middle, I'm sorry for ever saying the middle had greed. This is greed beyond concept. I've never seen this amount of greed in my life. Kim Ji-hoon, you know who you're buffing, right? Like you're 100% aware of who this is all going to, right? Does student count Albino? I assume it does, right? Maybe the tag. Maybe she doesn't count as a tag. But I assume this counts Albina involved, and obviously 100% counts freaking Ring Sang, and Ring Otis actually needs this, but Ring Sang. Okay. Oh, wow. All right. Okay. Anyway, so she gains something called L'Hommage, depending on the rings, and she also buffs them offense up or defense up. Okay, it's either or. But, like, holy crap. Anyway, let's move on to the passive. The second passive. Le Fauvism Coulé Sauvage. I am going to be flamed by everyone in the comments tonight. Combat end, inflict palette vibrant. Next turn to the enemies that have the Maud color rogue, blue and touche hardy simultaneously. If target has X rogue, blue each, inflict Y palette vibrante instead. Turn end, gain Le Fauvism Masque de Loup. If any X of the following conditions are met, you've inflicted palette vibrante X times, you used critique X times, and you've used bursts forth the pulsating crimson under your skin. Okay, this must be her form change. So it looks like this palette is just whenever you inflict the Maud color or this touche, you just get that as effect. And you activate the awakening form just by fulfilling the conditional. So it's not like a special thing. It's like, have you activated it X times? Have you used the special counter? That's the special counter, I believe, right? Yes, that's the special counter. And then the Ascended Skill 3. Okay. Okay, again, we'll have to figure out what Le Fauvism is. Masque de Loup. Also, I can see why this is 2 pages now, because I think the whole second page chat is just going to be... I said chat. The whole second page is going to be entirely passives. Like buffs. Anyway, here's a third passive. What is this? Needs a rougher touch for this part. What? Inflict more Maud color rogue, blue, and touche hardy. Okay, for like any particular reason, just for greed. Again, is this Rodion just greedy? Has somehow Rodion's greed has infected the Ring faction? Like what the hell is this? Okay, we'll see how much of a usefulness that is. Let's have a look at our support passive, see if this is anything. How much more greed this is. Nice and slow, don't let it break. Apply the effects to the identity with the earliest deployment order. If a lust resin is an odd number, inflict more bleed potency. If a lust resin is of an even number, inflict sinking potency, more sinking potency. If the identity is in the ring, gain offense level or defense level up at combat start. I'm sorry? What? It's really funny that the lust resin is at odd, by the way, because I'm pretty sure all of the lust resins that are, like, major are actually even, which is quite funny. But I guess it's an okay passive. I mean, more potency or sinking. The more sinking might be... Yeah, but it's a lust resin, so... I mean, there's lust in sinking, but... Yeah, you know what? It's cool, I guess. It's nothing special. It's not like the last two. The last two were crazy, but this one's... It's okay. It's decent. And that's the first page. Now let's go to the second page. Okay, yeah, this second page is literally just all special effects. Hi, Rodion. She's very pretty. Let's move on to this, shall we? Maud color. One hit, gain X bleed potency for every Y stack. Turn end, gain defense level down next turn for every Y stack. Okay, so she's just reverse nails. Is what I'm seeing here. This is just reverse nails. And you lose X stacks. So you lose stacks on turn end, but you inflict, but when they're hit, they gain potency. Okay. I mean, dude, the ring have infinite count, so is this not going to be like 99 in like turn 1? What about the Maud color blue? When hit, gain sinking potency for every X stack. Turn and lose X SP for every Y stack. Wow, lose SP. Turn and lose X stacks. Mahaha! I'm sorry. Lose SP for free. And you just you gain sinking potency when hit. I mean, hold on, this might be goated as hell, no? If you want to do like a sinking team with this, which you could. The bleed one's amazing, obviously, because if you hit with bleed count, you weren't inflicting bleed potency, which is W, right? So, WW. These seem fine. We have, this is the awakened form. We have Le Fauvism Masque de Loup. Gain minimax speed. Inflict more bleed and sinking potency with base skills. If the target has X blue, inflict sinking count. If target has X rogue, inflict bleed count. Okay, so now we know why she has the other passive that makes her inflict more of blue and rogue. The reason for that is because when you're in the awakened form, she's going to be inflicting more count and bleed. Okay, so this is... wow, okay. I get this definitely requires us to be in-game so we can see the values and stuff, but, I mean, it's a lot, probably. Here we have Touche Hardy, which is whatever this is. Take more HP and SP damage from bleed and sinking effects for every stack. Oh my god, are we finally going above the 99? We're actually going above the 99 bleed and 99 sinking cap now. Welcome to Shattering World from Yi Sang's Great Trichologism. Okay. I mean, that's great, dude. Making bleed go above 99, that sounds incredibly useful, especially with how much she's going to be inflicting. So that sounds like an absolute W. That sounds cool. We'll see how much this is. This is only on the skill 3 and Ascendant skill 3, I believe. Then we have Palette Vibrant. Take more damage from the ring faction identities. Okay, they did not need that, bro, but alright, let's have a look. If the attacker is both in the ring and a school of Fauvism, so Meursault, take even more damage. Combat start, randomly gain bleed, potency, sinking potency, bleed count, or sinking count for every stack. Oh, okay. Wait, and she just gets this for free, by the way. Combat end. Combat end. This effect expires. Halve the mauled, rogue, and blue on hit. Okay. Okay. Okay, I get it. It only lasts for a turn. I mean, but hold on, though. But, like, you can inflict so much of this for free. But it halves all of the colors. Okay, so what? Is the enemy just going to randomly... So the enemy could just randomly start with, like, 4 bleed count and 10 potency, or 5 bleed counts and 10 sinking potency, or... both sinking potency and bleed. I mean, you know what? It kind of gives me that pointillism feel to it. So I mean, W. I mean, it's free. So the fact that it's free, it's gonna be a lot. We have Le Homage. Turn start, randomly gain offense level up or defense level for every stack. Turn end, this effect expires. Okay. Reflection. Cannot use critique during the turn this unit has the effect. Turn start heal. SP. Turn end lose stack. When this effect expires, gain Le Homage next turn, equal to the number of times the ring IDs are on the field. Oh, also, that is a very cute Rodion. Very cute chibi. How do we get reflection again? Oh, it was on skill use end, I believe. It was on... It was somewhere here. You gain it off the counter, but how did you activate the counter again? Oh, if you do not have reflection, and if that has, okay, I get it. So you use counter. Okay, so using counter just gives you a free buff for X amount of turns. Okay, so you use counter when target has negative effects, and it gives you reflection, and then depending on the amount of ring identities you have, you gain Le Homage when this expires. So you use this to start snowballing, pretty much. But, like, this is, like, a cracked skill, though. But you can only use this during... And this gives you reflection. Okay. You cannot use critique during the turn the unit has this effect. Okay. So you get an Ascended skill 3 once... Okay, you get the Ascended skill 3 once every few turns, pretty much. Which is why it's so cracked. Okay, wow. There's a lot to go over on this. There's actually quite a lot to go over on this. But from what I can tell here, this is pretty much a mini pointillism, but imagine they could only do bleed or sinking. From what I see, it looks like there's going to be a lot. It's just a lot of free things on top. It's a bit hard to kind of give you a visual representation about it, but from what I'm seeing here, everything here is inflicting bleed. Pretty much just imagine that every hit inflicts bleed count and sinking count. And also bleed potency and sinking potency. Pretty much. Also, she's a freaking team leader. She also gains the Le Homage at turn start. So she gains Le Homage on turn start as well. And she buffs everyone. This is going to be crazy because it all depends on the values. But again, this is like very clearly... Now, you can be like, oh, but she doesn't have like... She has no bleed count on skill 2. Now, if you're like a bleed count enthusiast, like if you only look at the ID and you're like, if it doesn't have anything positive bleed count, I don't want to look at it. Then you're looking at the wrong thing. But the skill 2 doesn't have it, because that's sinking count. And the skill 3 is only at 2 out of 4. But that's because you're gaining the bleed count from hitting them with the... And inflicting the pallet. And at turn end, when you get the mauled procs, pretty much. So it's kind of like... It's not like you use this like this is like an initiator, I guess, is the best way I can describe it. But also they really, dude, this is gonna go crazy. By the way, there's 2 of these identities, right? So it's not just one. Meursault's going to be inflicting, I think, Heathcliff's Rogue from the trailer. But we're going to move on to Meursault now as well. And then I'll tell you my ideas on both of them. So moving on to Meursault. Now, Meursault's, yeah, he's a lot more simple. He's still a 2-page. So let's go over him. Now, he's probably going to have a lot of similar to Rodion. So we have the Ring Fauvist student, Meursault. He has Wrath, Pride, and Lust. He is also Bleed Sinking. We have Rough Portrayal, which is a 2-coin Wrath Blunt. Deal more damage for every X type of negative effect on the target. We have Gain Coin Power for every Bleed and Sinking on the target potency. The first coin inflicts bleed count. The second inflicts bleed. The first inflicts bleed potency. The second inflicts a bleed count and sinking count. Simple skill 1. The skill 2 is a 3-coin Pride. Visceral Strokes. Again, he's mono blunt. Deal more damage for every X type of negative effects on the target. On use, if the target does not have the mold color rogue, gain Clash Power. On use, gain coin power for every bleed and sinking potency on the target. The first coin inflicts bleed, the second is bleed and sinking, the third is bleed count and sinking count. Now I've noticed that he doesn't inflict rogue on anything here, unlike Rodion does, so I wonder if it's in his passive. Here we have Meursault's skill 3, Le Fauvism reveals submission. It is a 3-coin Lust Blunt. Deal more damage for every X type of negative effect on the target. Gain coin power on use for every bleed and potency on target. At less than X HP, or if the target has Y mold color on use, use coin 3 an additional time. For this skill, use additional time for the skill and convert all coins on the skill to unbreakable. On hit with the gained coin, randomly inflict mold color on the target, divided by Z, bleed or sinking potency. I'm sorry, hold on. That entire paragraph just stunned me. Okay. On use, at less than X HP, or if the target has Y mold color, doesn't matter which one, use a coin 3 in additional time for this skill and convert all the coins into unbreakable. On hit, with the gained coin, which is the 4th coin, you will randomly inflict the amount of mold color on the target divided by Z, bleed, or sinking potency. Okay, that makes more sense. The first coin inflicts bleed potency, the second is bleed and sinking potency, and the third is bleed count, sinking count, and a mold color rogue. Okay, so he seems to be the much more standardized bleed potency, sinking potency, all of that neutral stuff, and or bare minimum neutral than Rodion is, because Rodion mainly is inflicting the mold color and the paint. I'll just call it the paint. Let's go over to his counter, which is also a Lust. It is Coloring Preparation. Slash will counter mono blunt. If the unit has Fauvism Mask de Sheen, again, I don't know, gain base power. If target has bleed or sinking, gain coin power, and inflict bleed and sinking. A very simple Lust skill, counter skill, nothing major there, but I'm sure it's going to come to the passives. The Ring Fauvist student's passive. On hit with a base skill, inflict mold color rogue. Okay, so he just gets mold color rogue on every hit. Same like not same as Rodion, actually. I don't think Rodion has this. She just inflicts it on her skills. This counts as inflicting negative effects with a skill. Turn end, if the unit has inflicted an X amount of rogue during the encounter, gain Fauvism Mask de Sheen. Okay, so if he has inflicted 20 rogue during the encounter, he will get an awakening form. At coin start of the Ring Fauvist Docent Rodion's critique skill, Meursault gains imperfections addressed. So the critique skill is the Rodion unique counter that she gets once every few turns, because if you use the effect, you gain reflections, which prevents her from using the skill. Think about it as like a reverse ascended skill, where you always have access to the ascended skill, but when you use it, you lose access to it for a few turns. What is his second passive? His second passive is Welling Inspiration. If this unit has Le Fauvism Mask de Sheen, inflicts more rogue color. Every time this unit inflicts an X amount of color rogue, he will heal SP. If the unit SP is at max, he gains blunt damage up next time whenever he heals. Okay, so free blunt damage up. That is his 2 passives. And then he has support passive, which is Impastowed Scar. One ally with the fastest bleed on hit inflicts defense level down for every X type of negative effects on the target. Okay, nothing too crazy, but I mean free defense level down. I'm not sure if this is a Lust Resin or not, but if it's not a Lust Resin, I mean, this is just a free little defense level down. If it is a Lust Resin, well, congratulations, bleed identities keep winning, I guess. As I said, the Meursault one is so much more simpler now compared to Rodion. Rodion is, we might have to go over Rodion again, I'm not even gonna lie to you. But, real quickly, let's just go over what we have here. We already know what Maud Color Rogue does, but I'll just re-explain it. When hit, you gain bleed potency for every Y stack. Turn end, you gain defensible down for every Y stack, and it loses X stack per turn. Meursault's Awakening form, which is the Masque de Chine, will deal more damage for every Maud color on the target. You will inflict more bleed and sinking potency with base skills. Before hitting with a base skill, if the target does not have bleed potency, inflict bleed count on the target. Interesting. Okay. And here is the imperfect address that Meursault specifically gets. Deal more damage. On reuse of a coin, in the ring Fauvist Docent Rodion's critique skill, heal SP. If the ring Docent Rodion does not have reflection, expire. So you use the ascended counter from Rodion to snowball Meursault's SP gain. And also he inflicts bleed count on non-bleed potency identities, which makes me feel like he is probably pretty neutral, I assume, on everything, excluding the, like, color buff that he gets. As I said, this is a much simpler version of Rodion's. But I mean, like, you're inflicting double this Maud color. I have no idea how much Maud color this is going to be. This is probably going to be insane amounts of bleed potency. Guys, from what I'm seeing here, this seems like a Blood Fiend upscale, to be honest with you, which is a shame that because it's on Rodion and Meursault. Dude, the Blood Fiends would love it. Actually, is this a Barber Otis upscale? The greed of Barber Otis might be, generational, as they say, chat. But yeah, look, that's it for Meursault. He just has, like, a much more, like, Meursault is much more simple. Bleed, potency, bleed count. He's got a lot of that neutralist. He also has a lot more bleed count, I think, on his base skills. Or it looks about the same, to be honest with you. No, he's got a little bit more on his base skills compared to Rodion. But if you look at Rodion, she's dealing with all of these unique status effects. Like, she inflicts the Rogue here, she inflicts Rogue here, she inflicts blue and red. We could just say blue and red, I guess. She inflicts the Touche. She buffs all the ring identities. She also buffs specifically Meursault a lot. Yeah, this is kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, Rodion just looks absolutely insane. I can't lie to you. This looks like, again, one of those... This looks like a Nurse Father tier of insane. Now, I won't lie to you. Again, it's impossible to tell how well this is, but... Like, I'm gonna be real. It's kind of... It looks kind of cracked. We will see it on the day, of course, and I'll also be talking about this on the live stream after the video. Because we'll be going over these IDs again. But, I mean, look, I'm excited. I'll tell you what, I really like the idea of this, of the blue color, and I wonder if that might, maybe, there'll be more colors in the future or something? I'm not sure. All I need to know is that the ring's green needs to be studied, because Kim Ji-yoon gave them 2 ring identity team leaders. Yeah, but you know what? That's going to be it for these two guys. I will be talking about this on the live stream, including the patch if you're interested. And, yeah, if you want to see me pull, we'll be pulling on the day and also playing in a battle. And, yeah, that's going to be it, guys. See ya.